Willow slapped me in public just to impress another man. That very same day, I deleted and blocked every way she could possibly contact me. Everyone around us was shocked. After all, Willow and I had grown up together. I had liked her for more than 10 years, and I had even sworn that one day I would marry her. When Willow confronted me later, she was furious. "Why, just because I slapped you? Can you stop being so petty? You're a man, aren't you?" But I only sneered and asked her back. "The day before you slapped me, remember what you said to someone else? Do you want me to help you recall it?" Her face went pale instantly, and she was struck speechless. Chapter 1. Willow and I were born in the same hospital. She just came into the world a few hours earlier than me. Our parents were neighbors in the same village. Later, when our old neighborhood was torn down, both our families were relocated to the same apartment building. Willow hit puberty earlier than me, and as kids, she always used her height advantage to boss me around, treating me like her sidekick. I was introverted, often sick, and by the time I reached 4th grade, I became a regular target for a group of boys in our class. They'd steal my textbooks, toss trash into my water cup, and sometimes shove me hard from behind. When I finally went to the teacher in tears, begging for help, he just said coldly, "Why do they only bully you and not others? Maybe it's because you can't fit in. You're partly to blame, too." That day after school, I told my parents what happened. Uncle Lou, Willow's dad, just happened to be visiting our house. He saw the tears on my face, turned around, and called Willow over from their place. "Willow, from now on, you'll walk to school with your little brother," Uncle Lou instructed. The next morning, Willow was waiting at my door with her backpack. At school, she grabbed my hand and walked me straight into the classroom. She was taller than most of the boys in our grade, and when she found the ringleader of the group bullying me, she dragged him into the alley behind the bathrooms. I stood behind her, wide-eyed, watching as this one girl beat up an entire group of boys until they were crying and wailing. "I'm warning you, if you dare bully George again, you'll regret it." Her voice wasn't loud, but it shook me to my core. That moment, as the breeze lifted her long hair and I caught sight of her faint smile and those bright eyes, my heart started racing. I didn't understand love yet at that age, but I knew one thing. As long as I could see her, I felt happy. From that day on, rain or shine, Willow always waited at my door so we could walk to school together. Even if she was sick and had to skip class, she'd still walk me to school first before going back home, and she'd come pick me up again before the final bell rang. During the 10-minute morning recess, wherever Willow went, I followed. She'd often pretend to be annoyed and wave me away, saying, "If you keep following me, I won't wait for you to go to school next time." But I never stopped. I happily stuck close to her, calling her Sister Willow every step of the way. One day after school, she wasn't waiting outside my classroom like usual. I searched the nearby room she often visited, but I still couldn't find her. Even the security guard came to shoo me away, but she was nowhere in sight. I walked toward the bus stop, dejected, when I finally spotted her chewing bubble gum at a nearby snack shop. She walked up to me, still blowing bubbles, and complained, "Took you long enough." Then she pulled a piece of candy from her pocket and handed it to me. Time passed, and Willow and I grew up together like that. That summer, I had a growth spurt and finally caught up to her in height. Soon, I was even taller than her by quite a bit. I began to notice her looking at me differently. When I helped her with math, she wasn't looking at the questions. She was smiling at me. When the bus was too full and she had to stand, I'd feel her shyly tugging at the hem of my uniform. After our high school entrance exams, both of us got into the city's top school. Her mom even joked, "I've watched George grow up. He'd make a fine son-in-law. Willow, how about making it official once you both get into college?" I knew Aunt Lou was teasing, but Willow blushed and quickly ducked into my room. The adults all saw her reaction, and so did I. I could hear my own heart pounding like a drum as I shouted, "I like Willow. One day I'm going to marry her." Everyone laughed, and I figured she must have heard it from inside the room too. But that special feeling, it came to an end in our final year of high school. Chapter 2. On the first day of our final year in high school, while the entire class sat waiting for our new textbooks, a boy with a bright, sunny face appeared at the doorway. The homeroom teacher led him to the podium and introduced him. "This is Makoto, a new transfer student. Senior year is a crucial time, so I hope you'll all help him fit in." The sunlight lit up his face as he smiled and glanced around the room. Then he fixed his gaze directly on me. "I heard from a friend," he said, "that there's a simp in this class. To be more specific, someone who follows a girl around like a loyal sidekick." "Whoa!" Gasps and murmurs immediately filled the room. I looked him in the eyes and swallowed hard. I didn't even need to turn my head to know that every single person was staring at me. Since getting into this top-ranked high school, I rarely ran into anyone from my elementary or middle school. But rarely didn't mean never. And whenever someone saw me still trailing behind Willow like before, they'd snicker behind my back. At least no one had ever dared to say it out loud, until now. "Sorry, Wong," Makoto said mockingly. "I also heard you're really prideful. Will saying this upset you?" He raised his eyebrows at me, his eyes full of provocation. "But seriously, you're a guy. Always following a girl around? Isn't that a bit pathetic? She's not your mom. Or are you part of a special group?" "Makoto, that's enough." Willow slammed her hand on the desk and stood up. Her chair toppled over with a loud bang. Makoto finally looked away from me, his expression suddenly softening. "Am I wrong, Lou?" he said gently. "Honestly, you've been kind of annoyed by his clingy behavior for a while now, haven't you?" Willow pressed her lips tightly together, like she was silently admitting he had a point. Bang, bang, bang. The teacher rapped on the blackboard 3 times. Makoto finally shut up. "There's one empty seat. Go sit there," the teacher ordered, pointing at the desk next to Willow. Then he added, "This year, I hope all of you focus on your studies and get into your dream colleges. Pointless, childish nonsense like that, don't bring it up again. All right, a few of you go to the office and pick up the textbooks." As the teacher spoke, he gave me a meaningful glance. I understood and followed the group out of the classroom. When I returned with the books, I saw something that made my stomach drop. The 2 people who had been at each other's throats just minutes ago were now standing very close together. Makoto looked up at me, his eyes gleaming with smug satisfaction. After school, Willow packed her bag and walked out of the classroom hand in hand with Makoto. I watched their backs fade into the distance, then pulled a small cake from my drawer and stuffed big bites into my mouth. It was her favorite flavor, not sweet at all. Everything that had happened that day replayed over and over in my mind, making my chest ache. That day, Makoto became the third wheel between me and Willow. And from then on, our relationship could never go back to the way it used to be. Chapter 3. Makoto was a natural at socializing. Within just a few days of transferring, he had already blended in with the whole class. I didn't understand how he and Willow had suddenly become so close. All I knew was that starting from that week, she no longer needed me to bring her breakfast. "I brought you steamed buns. Both of your favorite flavors today," I said, placing them on her desk. Willow kept her head down, busy organizing her drawer. "Thanks, but you can take them back. I've already eaten." Makoto lifted a half-eaten bowl of Longan sticky rice porridge and held it up in front of me, wearing a smug smile. "Oh, I didn't know you brought breakfast, too." But Willow couldn't even finish this porridge. "You really don't need to keep bringing food." "What did you just say?" I looked at the bowl in his hand and something clicked. "Isn't it better if you stop bringing breakfast?" "Focus on your studies. No need to fuss over trivial stuff like this," Makoto added, curling his lip and ducking behind Willow. "Wait, you're not actually mad, are you?" Willow finally put her book down and sat up straight. "Makoto's just trying to help. Don't be so petty." That line hit me like a punch to the chest. My head filled with question marks and I was left speechless. I looked up at the sky through the window as that familiar ache returned to my chest. Fine. I'm the petty one. It's all my fault." My sudden outburst silenced the entire classroom. Makoto quietly sipped his porridge, mouthing the words, "She drank this. It's sweet." "George." Willow's voice was sharp, clearly irritated by the sarcasm in my tone. I couldn't take it anymore. I reached over and pulled the steamed buns off her desk. "Why are you yelling? You think I'll back down just because you raise your voice?" Willow was stunned. It was the first time I had ever spoken to her that way. She instinctively reached out to grab my hand, but I pushed her away. "Don't be mad. I'll eat it, all right? Give me the buns. Keep bringing breakfast like before." Willow held out her hands with a gentle tone like she used to. I glanced past her. Makoto was glaring at me with pure jealousy. I had never seen that look in anyone else's eyes before. He was the first. From that day on, Makoto started making things difficult for me. It felt like being caught in a sudden storm, a tiny boat in the middle of raging winds and rain with nowhere to hide. I was strong in science, ranking near the top of the class, but my language arts grades were notoriously bad, often publicly called out by the teacher. Whenever I answered a question in class, Makoto would mutter under his breath, "You don't even know that?" What an idiot. His little entourage would laugh along, their snickering echoing through the room. During group discussions, I'd barely share my opinion before Makoto rolled his eyes. "I don't agree with that." Then his circle would jump in, mocking me and turning everything I said into a joke. At first, Willow would still speak up for me. "Come on, don't be like that. We're all classmates." But Makoto always had a way to twist things. "I'm just doing it for his own good," he'd say. And with that, Willow would fall silent, as if she agreed with him. Watching them laugh and chat together felt like having needles pricked straight into my chest. Half a semester had passed. By then, my eyes were swollen and red from allergies, and of course, Makoto quickly turned that into his next weapon. One afternoon after school, I put on sunglasses, hoping to slip out quietly without drawing attention. But Makoto, never one to miss a chance to humiliate me, pointed at my face and shouted loudly for everyone to hear, "Look!" He spent the whole day lying on his desk. Bet his eyes are swollen from crying. That's why he's wearing shades. Before I could react, he yanked the sunglasses right off my face. "See? Told you so." The entire class turned to look at me. A wave of laughter erupted, stabbing me deeper than any punch could. I felt tears threatening to spill, but I bit down hard and forced them back. I refused to let him see me cry. "That's enough," I snapped, voice trembling with anger. "You really think you're funny?" Makoto just shrugged, cool as ever. "Relax, it's just a joke. Don't be so sensitive." But I knew better. These so-called jokes weren't jokes at all. They were weapons, sharp, cruel, and meant to cut. Chapter 4. A surge of fury exploded inside me. Before I even thought about it, my fist connected squarely with Makoto's face. He hadn't expected it. My punch knocked him off balance, and he hit the ground hard. A bright red mark instantly bloomed across his cheek. For once, he looked stunned, humiliated. "You looking to die?" Makoto snarled as he grabbed onto a desk and pulled himself back up. I glanced at the powder residue clinging to my fingers and sneered. "No wonder your skin's so thick. You've caked on so much foundation." With that, I turned to head toward the restroom to wash my hand. But before I could leave, Willow grabbed my wrist. Her voice was sharp. Cold. "Apologize." I froze. "Why should I apologize to him?" "You hit him," she said flatly. "He was just joking, and you hit him." Then, with even more ice in her voice, "Apologize." "Don't make me hate you." I stared at her, at this girl who used to protect me from the world, and all I felt was unfamiliarity. Distance. "I won't," I shouted. The moment the words left my mouth, Willow's hand flew across my face. The slap echoed through the classroom. Everyone froze, eyes locked on us. The tension was suffocating. I touched my burning cheek and laughed bitterly. So childhood bonds really can't compete with sudden infatuation. I slung my backpack over my shoulder and walked out. Behind me, I heard Willow's worried voice fussing over Makoto. "Are you okay? Come on, let's get you to the nurse's office." My face throbbed, and my chest felt like it had been hollowed out. I pushed through the school gates into pouring rain. I hadn't brought an umbrella, but I didn't care. Head down, I trudged through the streets, soaked to the bone, ignoring the looks of strangers. By the time I got home, I was dripping wet. On the coffee table sat a framed photo of our two families at the amusement park from last summer. I walked into my room, yanked open the closet, and started grabbing every piece of clothing Willow had ever given me. I tossed them into a cardboard box. On my nightstand was the only photo of just the two of us. I ran my fingers over her smiling face one last time, then threw it in the box too. When it was full, I sealed it with tape, carried it downstairs, and dropped it into the garbage bin outside. Thud. That sound was final. Willow and I could never go back. Moments later, there was a knock at the door. I thought it was my parents. But when I opened it, Willow stood there, expression cold. In her arms was the very same cardboard box. She pulled out our photo and shoved it toward me. "Why did you throw this away?" "And all these, they were gifts from me." Why did you throw them out? I forced a smile. What I do with my stuff, what's it got to do with you? Her eyes flicked to the red mark still faintly visible on my cheek. Her voice cracked. I didn't even hit you that hard. Why is your face like this? She reached out to touch it, but I turned away, dodging her hand. She was the only friend I'd ever had. The person I always ran to when I felt wronged. I didn't mean to, she said quickly, panic in her voice. I didn't control my strength. Enough. That's enough, I cut her off sharply. From now on, we're just neighbors in the same building. Willow set the box down and grabbed my hand desperately. Why, George? Is it because I slapped you at school? Don't be such a child. You're a grown man. Can't you stop being so petty? Childish? Petty? I laughed bitterly. Willow, from this moment on, we're done. Her tears spilled over. I didn't mean it that way. I was wrong. I'm sorry, okay? I don't need your apology. I pried her fingers off mine one by one. Don't come bothering me ever again. Her expression shifted from shock to confusion, and finally to a bitter, mocking smile. Fine, fine, you said it yourself. Don't come crawling back later. She turned and walked away. Never once looked back. Only after her footsteps faded completely down the stairs did I close the door, alone. Chapter 5, the very next day, Willow and Makoto were officially a couple. They brought in big bags of candy and dozens of cups of bubble tea, placing one on every classmate's desk. For a moment, I wanted to tell her to focus on her studies instead. But then I remembered. None of this had anything to do with me anymore. Everyone in class silently agreed to help cover for them, keeping this open secret from the teachers. It wasn't surprising. Makoto's sunny personality and easy charm made him popular, especially with the girls. I'm a guy, but if anyone bullies you, feel free to come to me, he'd boast. What's wrong with hanging out with girls? Girls are clean, don't smell like sweat, and they notice the good in people. There are just some people I can't get along with. Overly sensitive, bad temper, can't take a joke. He was clearly referring to me and the others he had mocked. Some classmates actually disliked him for it. But Willow? She stayed blind. She even encouraged me to talk to him more. I refused. Makoto would shrug and say to the girls nearby, I get it. Shouldn't have said they've got a bad temper. Now I've really pissed them off. Ah well, guess I'll be iced out by another clique again. It's fine, I'm used to it. And just like that, he twisted the whole situation. He was the bully, but somehow he made it look like we were the ones excluding him. That night, I vented to my parents about how ridiculous he was. George, we understand, my dad said calmly. I've met people like him before, too. Don't worry about him. Just focus on yourself. And it's best not to get too close to that kind of person. Right then, Willow walked by outside and overheard. Her face darkened immediately. Uncle, Auntie, George. Talking behind someone's back is not okay. The three of us froze, then laughed awkwardly. Later, I realized that by then, she and Makoto had already built a close friendship. He tutored her in math, something I used to do. He bonded with her friends over makeup and celebrity gossip. And little by little, her impression of him shifted. From the arrogant guy who mocked me on day one to a cheerful, helpful classmate. In class, they passed notes, giggled openly, and paid no mind to anyone else. After school, she rode home on the back of his bike, arms wrapped around his waist. It stung. But I tried to convince myself they were just friends. I thought Willow liked me. Turns out I was only fooling myself. We're in a proper relationship, Makoto finally announced one day with Willow perched on his lap. Not like some people who hide behind the childhood friend label just to stick to her like glue. Then he smirked at me and added, Also, I know some folks don't like me and love running to the teachers to snitch, but I'd appreciate it if certain classmates wouldn't report our relationship. Makes them look jealous. I said nothing. Just stared at my book solving problems. Some classmates smiled and offered blessings. Others stole glances at me, waiting for a reaction. Everyone knew Willow and I had grown up together. Everyone knew how I felt about her. Even when other girls gave me love letters, I threw everyone away. I only ever wanted Willow, but now she wasn't mine anymore. Chapter 6. After that, Willow and Makoto only grew closer. She slipped her hair tie onto his wrist, playfully demanding he never take it off. They passed notes in class, laughed loudly, and shared food at lunch. After school, she clung to him on the back of his bicycle. It was hard to stomach, but eventually, I got used to it. Just when I thought she and I would never cross paths again, Willow stopped me at the school gate one evening. "George," she said, voice low and eyes conflicted. "Makoto called in sick today." I frowned. "So what?" She got straight to the point. "Did you hit him again?" I froze, then laughed coldly. "Me? Hit him? I don't even want to breathe the same air as him. And you think I'd lay a finger on him?" She stared at me suspiciously. "Last night he walked me home and said he'd pick me up this morning. But he never showed. I rushed to school, asked around, and found out from the teacher he called in sick, said someone beat him up." "Tell me the truth. Was it you?" "You're insane!" I snapped, trying to push past her. But she yanked my wrist, eyes sharp like a predator. "George, I know you're upset that we're dating, but this is too much. You're the one who said we should act like strangers. Even if you're jealous, that's no excuse." She hesitated, then softened her voice. "If you just apologize, we can pretend none of this ever happened. We can go back to how things were." Her tone was urgent, like she couldn't wait for my response. I'd had enough. "Are you serious? It's broad daylight and you're dreaming already. Let go of me." "Apologize," she demanded. "I told you I didn't do anything." "You two want a date? Be my guest. Have 10 kids right now for all I care. Go get married and live happily ever after. Just leave me out of it." Willow's face went pale, stunned by my words, but her grip didn't loosen. Just as I was about to shake free, a hand gently touched Willow's arm. "Hey, is this how you treat your classmates?" I turned toward the voice. It was a girl in a dress about our age. "Anna." The name slipped out of my mouth. Anna was one of our school's top graduates, just a year ahead of us. I remembered her well. Back then, she was the crush of countless guys. But what was she doing here? Seeing the confusion on my face, Anna glanced at me and winked mischievously. Then, without missing a beat, she slid her arm into mine. Willow's expression soured instantly. Taking the chance, I broke free from Willow's grip and ran off, pulling Anna with me, without looking back. Chapter 7. It was Wednesday during PE class. I wasn't feeling well, but I didn't think much of it. When the teacher blew the whistle, I lined up and ran laps with the rest of the boys. The boys and girls ran separately, and the girls had already finished. They were waiting nearby. Halfway through the run, my vision suddenly went black. My limbs turned weak and numb. Only then did I realize I was having a hypoglycemia attack. But it was too late. My foot stumbled, and I collapsed awkwardly to my knees on the track. Gasps erupted all around me. Suddenly, I heard fast-approaching footsteps, and a slender hand wrapped around my arm, helping me up. It was Willow. "Your blood sugar dropped again? Did you skip breakfast again?" She scolded quickly. "You're in no shape to run. Can you please take some responsibility for your body? Are you hurt? I'll take you to the nurse." She kept nagging beside my ear. I was already irritated from falling, and all the eyes staring at me only made me more annoyed. I yanked my arm back hard, trying to pull away. "Don't touch me." "I can walk on my own." She growled back. "Is this really the time to throw a tantrum? Can you just care about your own health for once? I'll just take you to the nurse's office and then I'm leaving." "Is that okay with you?" I let out a bitter laugh. "You don't get it, do you? Is low blood sugar some kind of fatal illness? Sitting down somewhere for a few minutes will fix it. Am I dying? Do you have to take me to the nurse?" Willow clenched her jaw. After a moment, she hissed through her teeth, "Why do you have to be so ungrateful?" I looked at her calmly. "If that's what you want to believe, then go ahead." Willow flung my arm away and stormed off without looking back. There weren't many people in the nurse's office. Just one girl sitting on a cot. It was Anna again. Why was she still on campus? Didn't she already graduate and go off to college? She spotted me and lit up with a bright smile. "Hey, Wang! What a coincidence, you're at the nurse's office too." I nodded weakly. Then I noticed Anna was actually injured. Not like my minor issue. Hers was serious. Her knee was wrapped in thick layers of gauze with blood seeping through. The white bandage had turned completely red. She followed my gaze, looked down at her leg, and scratched her head awkwardly. "Oh, this? Ugh. There was this uneven spot on the court I didn't see. Took a fall while playing ball. Nothing major, just a scrape. What about you? Are you okay?" I remembered hearing that Anna used to be captain of the school's girls' volleyball team. She was even pretty well known across the city. This must be why she came back, probably invited to help coach the new players. Looking at the bloody gauze made my skin crawl, but I was surprised at how tough she was. She didn't seem fragile at all. Quite the opposite. My attitude toward Anna softened unconsciously. I'm fine. Just low blood sugar. You should rest. Anna nodded firmly, her smile radiant, completely unfazed by her injury. Because of her condition, she stayed in the nurse's office a long time, and over time we got more familiar with each other. Anna was naturally friendly, warm, and easy to talk to. She was good at making people feel comfortable. One day while sitting on the cot, she looked at me a little shyly. Wang, I think our friendship could maybe move a step forward. What do you think? I was stunned and waved my hands immediately. I'm about to take the college entrance exams. I'm not thinking about anything else right now. But Anna didn't give up. A week later, she could walk again. Every day during long breaks, she came to find me. Sometimes she brought candy. Sometimes she brought my favorite milk. Whenever she showed up, she'd stick close to my seat and chatter nonstop. The boys around me, they'd all jump up and give her their chairs with enthusiasm. Slowly, the rumor spread that the famous graduate Anna was dating a senior. Everyone thought we were together. Chapter 8, I denied it. But everyone just gave me that sure we get it look, like, if you don't want to admit it, fine. Everyone knows anyway. The guy who sat behind me leaned over, full of gossip. Hey, George, let me ask you, does Anna really have abs? I blinked. How would I know that? Still, I answered honestly. I don't know. Come on, man. Don't keep it from us at a time like this. We're just curious. You know how many guys chased her during her 3 years at school? She never said yes to any of them. George, spill it, come on! Even my desk mate nudged me with his elbow. A senior girl who graduated with her said she's got abs. And you're her only boyfriend. You must have seen them, right? Come on, tell us, were they hot? What did they feel like? I thought for a second. Did she have abs? If I really dug into my memory, I think I actually had seen them. I fell into deep thought and mumbled, maybe. Yeah, even though she's thin, she's really athletic. Ah, bro! How far did you two go already? The guy behind me shouted before I could finish. Hey, shut up. I quickly covered his mouth. I just saw it a few times, okay? Don't make it sound like we did anything. Just then, a sharp crash rang out across the classroom. We all turned. It was Willow. She had dropped her cup and shattered it. Her face was pale, as if it took her a while to realize what had happened. Then she slowly crouched down to pick up the shards. As she gathered the broken pieces, Makoto suddenly shouted, Willow! Your hand! I looked over and saw that her finger had been cut. Bright red blood dripped down, trickling from her hand. She stared at her fingers, expression distant, lost in thought. I've got tissues, Willow. Come here, I'll help you wrap it. Makoto reached for her hand, but Willow yanked it away. And then, in front of everyone, she walked straight toward me. The cut was deep, but she didn't seem to feel any pain. Blood left a dotted trail on the ground as she stopped in front of me. She looked at me and said softly, I got hurt. George, can I have a Band-Aid? I looked at her quietly. She knew I always carried Band-Aids. Because of her. When we were kids, Willow was wild. She loved climbing trees, picking fruit, and catching crayfish in the river. She was always getting cuts or twisting her ankles. In middle school, a girl who had a crush on me got angry when I rejected her. She sent her older brother to block me in an alley after school. Willow charged in, swinging a 2-meter stick, and beat them so badly no one ever dared to mess with me again. Another time, that same girl got a group of her friends to tail Willow. After school, they pushed her down the hallway. That part of school had full-length glass windows. Willow wasn't expecting it. She crashed through the glass and rolled onto the ground covered in shards. Thankfully, it was the first floor. She wasn't seriously hurt, but both her arms were covered in thin, bloody cuts. When I found her, her uniform was already soaked in red. She was in so much pain her face twisted up, but she still gritted her teeth and told me she was fine, that it didn't hurt. I cried so hard I couldn't see clearly, but all I could do was stand there helpless, watching the blood keep soaking through her sleeves. From that day on, I always carried Band-Aids with me. I recorded every little moment I spent with Willow, every second I liked her. I even fantasized that one day when we got married, I would give her that diary. It would be my long confession. Her voice trembled over the phone. I'm sorry, George. I read your diary. I never knew you liked me that much. I'm sorry. For ignoring your feelings all this time? Honestly, I regretted slapping you the moment I did it. All these years, I never just saw you as a little brother. Willow, I cut her off. I know you picked the diary up. But after all these days, you're just now reading it? The other end of the line went silent. I chuckled coldly. You never asked me about any of this before, did you? Because you never cared in the first place, right? Her voice was weak and colorless. But now that people are saying I'm dating someone, you feel threatened. You suddenly feel like your position is in danger. So today, months later, on some impulsive whim, you finally decided to stoop down and open that dusty old diary, didn't you? George, that's not it. I didn't let her explain. My voice was calm. Willow, you should know. Late apologies and confessions can't fix the past. What you're doing now just makes you look cheap. That diary means nothing now. You might as well throw it away. Don't call me again. Don't look for me either. You're really annoying. And then I hung up. My birthday was a week away. My parents planned a party and told me to invite classmates. At first, I didn't want to invite Willow and the others, but since they'd been behaving lately, I figured I'd treat everyone the same and handed out the invitations. Anna shamelessly asked for one too. On the day of my birthday party, I dressed up. Willow showed up as well, her makeup flawless, Makoto holding her hand and dressed in a white suit. But when he saw me, he quickly let go of her hand and instead wrapped his arm tightly around hers, sticking to her like glue. Willow's face was expressionless. I didn't greet them. I just walked straight toward the adults. The party itself was cheerful but a little exhausting. At one point, I slipped out to the terrace, breathing in the cool night breeze. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Even if I didn't want to admit it, I recognized them instantly. We had known each other too long. She stood there, her voice hoarse. Can we talk, George? I turned. Her eyes were red and puffy. Of course, I said expressionlessly. But if possible, I hope it's the last time. Her face went pale. She gave a bitter laugh. Does it really have to be like this between us, George? No matter what I say now, you won't forgive me, will you? I looked away. I really don't understand. Didn't you always like me? You know it. I like you too. We were just one step away from confessing to each other. Why are you treating me like this? Finally, she admitted it out loud. For the first time, she confessed she liked me too. But it came under circumstances like this, all because of that one slap. Just like the first time she asked that question, I nodded without hesitation. Yes, because of that one slap. I heard it that day. Chapter 11. Willow didn't slap me just because she lost control of her emotions. The day before it happened, on my way home from school, I saw Makoto giving Willow a ride. But halfway through, they suddenly turned off the road that led to our neighborhood. I felt uneasy and decided to follow. Willow and a few of her girlfriends went with Makoto into a hot pot restaurant. As they ate, the conversation turned to me. He's been by your side since elementary school. Wow, that's basically what they call childhood sweethearts. So does he like you or not? Of course he does, another said. In class, he only ever talks to Willow, not any other girl. 9 years of chasing her. Willow, you're still not saying yes? Don't you like him? My heart tensed. Willow laughed lightly, replying offhandedly. I mean, I do like him, but I'm not really interested in dating. He's too dull, boring. A wave of commotion followed. Damn, that's savage. Girl, aren't you afraid he'll stop liking you if you keep stringing him along like this? No way. Guys like that, once they fall for someone, they cling on for dear life. You can't even shake them off. At that moment, Makoto's voice joined in with a grin. Exactly. I totally get that kind of guy. Once he likes something, he never stops. And he's always looking for someone to lean on. I bet no matter how Willow treats him, as long as she shows him a tiny bit of kindness, he'll keep liking her forever. Look, even though I'm this close with Willow now, he's still watching us with puppy dog eyes, isn't he? I'd say, even if she slapped him in public and said sorry later, he'd still be fine with it. For real? That brainless? If he's that devoted, Willow, want to give it a try? Slap him in front of everyone, bet he'd still come crawling back. I held my breath. And then, in the noisy restaurant, Willow's voice rang out clearly. Sure, let's try it. Back on the terrace, Willow was trembling, her hands shaking. That's not it, George, listen to me. I just said that to save face. I didn't mean it, Don't deny it. That's pathetic, Willow. I looked at her softly. Didn't you always say it's awful to talk behind people's backs? Take a look at yourself. How are you any better? Her face instantly drained of all color. I let out a long sigh. Strangely, though I had been furious and heartbroken at the time, now I felt nothing. It was like watching someone else's story. I know you like me, but I also know you were swayed, right? There was a moment when you thought Makoto was great too, so great you wanted to impress him. That's normal, Willow. You like me because we grew up together, because I looked decent, and because I loved you with everything I had. That's why you had feelings for me. But in the end, we're not a good match. You think I'm good-looking, but that doesn't stop you from thinking I'm dull. You think I'm passive, unassertive, not like Makoto, who's confident and presentable. So eventually, you'd be drawn to someone like him. And even if it wasn't Makoto, it'd be someone else. The next sweet, charming guy who's nothing like me, but just as attractive. But what you shouldn't have done is use me as your stepping stone. I gave a cold laugh. How dare you slap me? Who do you think you are, Willow? Why would you slap me? For someone you've only known a few months? Her face went completely blank, drained of hope. Because deep down, I had exposed her darkest, most selfish desire, and she knew it. She no longer had the strength to argue. I looked at her unwavering. In the end, she just stood there in a daze, a single tear sliding down her cheek. George, do you not love me anymore? I never loved you, I said without a second's hesitation. What? Willow's lips lost all color. She stared at me, completely lost. I looked straight into her eyes. I used to like you. I liked you for a long time because you always looked out for me when we were kids. That affection lived inside a beautiful fantasy I built around you. It didn't need your response. It could survive just by existing in me. But not long ago, I let it go. Why? She whispered, sounding like she was sleepwalking. Because even now, whenever I see you, my face still stings. I said it without emotion. Willow's face finally lost all color. Chapter 12. Later, Willow broke up with Makoto. I never found out why. Even though the college entrance exams were only a few months away, Makoto applied to transfer classes a few days after. Willow, on the other hand, seemed like a completely different person. She stopped hanging out with her old friends and started following me everywhere. She brought me breakfast. At lunch, she'd rush to the cafeteria to save me a seat and bring me food. After school, she'd quietly follow me, saying she wanted to walk home together. It was like we were back in elementary school. No, she was treating me even better than she did back then. When I asked her what she was doing, she just shook her head and looked at me with sorrowful eyes, silent. Eventually, she said she only wanted to make it up to me. She wanted to take care of me. Honestly, I couldn't shake her off. No one could talk sense into her. It was exhausting. Around that time, my parents' company arranged an overseas assignment, ironically to my mom's hometown. We decided that once the exams were over, the whole family would move. I didn't tell anyone in advance. One weekend, I just sent a few familiar classmates some goodbye messages. Willow was the last to find out. I don't know how she did, but she began following me, asking, "After you move, you're not coming back, are you?" I ignored her. In the final days before the exams, we were all studying at home. On the day of the test, someone from Willow's room said she filled her entire answer sheet with my name. Because of that, she failed and had to consider retaking the year. The day I received my acceptance letter, my parents and I packed up and started the move. Willow chased our car for a long, long time. I sat in the front passenger seat watching the rearview mirror. I saw her running with everything she had, reaching out, her face pale as paper, crying uncontrollably. "George, don't go! Please, don't leave! I can't live without you. George." Makoto stood beside her, trying to hold her up, but she shoved him away. The wind was too strong. It carried away her desperate cries. In the end, the figure who had been by my side for 10 years, she fell, stood back up trembling, then got smaller. Smaller and smaller until all that was left was a blurry black dot. And then, gone. Later, I heard bits and pieces about Willow from old classmates. Some said she was completely crushed while repeating the year, dull, lifeless every day. Some said she spiraled, became reckless, changing friends constantly. Others said she turned into someone entirely different, burying herself in study, aiming for a specific university. I didn't pay much attention. Anna and I went to the same university. Naturally, we ended up together. In the first couple of years, every birthday, I'd receive a package. The sender never signed their name, but I recognized the return address instantly. I accepted every package, then had the courier send them back, collect on delivery using the same slip. It wasn't until my junior year that I finally confessed my feelings to Anna. At her strong insistence, we made our relationship public on social media. And from that year onward, the yearly gifts stopped coming. This is good enough. It should have ended a long time ago. This is the end and the beginning of my new life.